Hey, what's up y'all? I'm back with another video. With the War Within Season 1 quickly running out of repeatable endgame content, and with the upcoming patch looking like the Forbidden Reach 2.0, it only makes sense that the average player is turning to gold farming as a source for content in order to justify the money, or for players like me, gold, that they're paying for their subscription. One of my favorite places for farming gold during these low seasons is Island Expeditions, a piece of content introduced during Battle for Azeroth consisting of small, semi-randomly generated islands that you can explore for rewards such as mounts, toys, pets, transmog, as well as an Island Expedition unique currency, the Seafarer's Doubloon, but I'll get into that later in the video. The Island Expeditions themselves are quite easy to solo, typically taking no more than 2 to 3 minutes to complete, doing nothing but going around the island and killing as many mobs as fast as possible. Seeing as Battle for Azeroth was over half a decade ago, the content is a pushover, and when farming as a group takes no time at all. In this video, I'm going to be going over how you can be making millions of gold in looted item value with Island Expeditions right here in the War Within. That all being said, let's just get right into the video. If you're unfamiliar with Island Expeditions, they are small, player versus environment scenarios in which you compete with the opposing faction for control over Azerite. The main objective of the Island Expedition is to fill your ship with Azerite. I would only recommend queuing for Mythic difficulty since it's just as easy as completing an island on normal, and the rewards are significantly better. But I can't tell you what to do, so queue for whatever you want, I don't really care. Completing an Island Expedition has the chance to reward you with things such as mounts, toys, pets, and unique transmog appearances that are only obtainable through said Island Expeditions. For the sake of gold farming, we're only going to be focused on the latter two, seeing as they are the only things that you'll be able to acquire that are going to be able to be sold. There are tens of battle pets to acquire, as well as hundreds of pieces of transmog that you can acquire while farming the Island Expeditions, meaning that you're able to build an impressive inventory of items to sell while farming. Now that you're somewhat familiar with the Island Expeditions and how they work, let's get into the farms as well as the items that you're looking to acquire. Farming Island Expeditions is primarily up to RNG, seeing as the loot that you obtain is typically based on the randomly generated events that happen around the island. Typically, I would go over every single event and list the highest ticket items to stretch that view time, but while writing the script for this video, I realized that there are literally hundreds of them, and seeing as I really don't feel like writing a 20-page essay that would turn into an hour-and-a-half long video, I figured I would condense them into the events that I feel like are the most profitable and are worth keeping an eye out for while farming Island Expeditions. The first Island Expedition event that I personally found to be worth keeping an eye out for is the Naga encounter. This encounter drops 5 unique items, including 3 weapon transmog pieces, as well as 2 battle pets. The first transmog item is the plundered Sea Sinew Stave, which typically sees listings for upwards of 40,000 gold across US realms, which is a pretty decent figure. The next 2 items, the plundered freakyfin Axe and plundered Vanguard Trident, typically list for around 20 to 25,000 gold each, which is also a pretty decent amount, and makes for a good medium ticket transmog items to help pad your inventory. Like I mentioned earlier, there are also 2 battle pets that drop as a result of Naga encounters, being Inky and the Octopode Fry battle pets. Between the two, the Octopode Fry is the only pet worth taking much note of, seeing as it's worth 10 times as much as Inky at a pretty impressive 15,000 gold. The next Island Expedition encounter that I personally found to be worth keeping an eye on is the Island Trolls encounter. The Island Trolls encounter has by far the most amount of transmog that you're going to be able to acquire, as well as some of the highest ticket items that you're going to be able to farm, including pieces from the Voodoo Stalker set, the pieces of which list from anywhere between 10,000 to 120,000 gold in item value. The first transmog piece worth mentioning is the plundered Jungle Stalker's Talon, which typically lists for over 100,000 gold at any given time across US realms, making for a pretty fat paycheck if you happen to offload it. Another item is the plundered Sandfury Blade, which typically sees regular listings anywhere between 40 and 60,000 gold, making for a great piece of medium value transmog to add to your inventory. Other items that drop from the Island Trolls include the Ferraki Hacker, the Sand Scoured Fetish, the Tiki Bound Blade, the Totem Barrier, and the Troll Ceremonial Basher, all of which see regular lists ranging from 10,000 to 40,000 gold at any given time, at least on my server. The Island Trolls encounter is definitely one of the encounters that are worth dropping everything and running to immediately in order to maximize your drops, seeing as just about every item that you can obtain from them will be a valuable addition to any transmog or bank alt. The next island expedition encounter that I personally would recommend keeping an eye out for is the Feral Worgen that sometime appear. It's also worth noting that when the Havenswood Island expedition is available, they are easily farmable, seeing as they are regular mobs across the island and won't require a random encounter to farm. The Worgen mobs have a chance to drop a battle pet, as well as pieces from the Duskhaven set, Gilnean themed pieces of transmog that typically list for tens of thousands of gold, the most notable of which being the Duskhaven top hat, which averages for over 100,000 gold across US realms at any given time. The battle pet, Lord Wolfington, typically lists for anywhere between 5,000 and 10,000 gold as well, which is also a pretty good rate. Now, while the prices for the transmog pieces that drop from the Worgen may not be as good as the ones that drop from the Trolls, the average sell rate for these pieces is significantly higher than the likes of any other piece of transmog that you're looking to farm while running island expeditions, being extremely sought after for things such as roleplay and just being pretty decent looking pieces in general. The next island expedition encounter that I would recommend keeping an eye out for if possible are the Fire Elementals. The Fire Elementals can be commonly found around the Molten Cay island, with the chance of spawning as an event on any island. The mobs drop 3 unique weapons as well as pieces from the Firekin set, a recolor of the tier 11 Druid set, the pieces of which typically list for many tens of thousands of gold, which the most notable piece being the Firekin Amos, which sees regular listings for over 250,000 gold, which is a pretty impressive number, especially considering that pieces from the set have a higher than normal average region sale rate. While the rate may not be as high as the Duskhaven set, you can expect to make sales more frequently, which helps with turnaround rate on inventory, especially if you're holding out on a lot of Firekin pieces. The mobs also have a chance to drop a handful of weapons, including the Ember Crystal Staff, Molten Reaper, and Fire Geode Mace, which also typically list for slightly under 10,000 gold, which, while not anything worth writing home about, may still make for good, low-value items for your transmog inventory. There is also a pet that you have a chance to loot from the Fire Elementals, but the value of it is so low that I can't really be bothered to mention it. The last island expedition encounter that I figured was worth mentioning as well as keeping an eye out for are the Jinyu, which are the primary creatures found around the Rotting Mire Island. The mobs have a chance to drop a weapon as well as pieces from the razorfin transmog set, the pieces of which list for tens of thousands of gold, with 3 pieces, the razorfin battle plate, razorfin helm, as well as the razorfin shoulder guards, seeing regular lists for 130,000, 250,000, and 300,000 gold respectively. As far as farming high ticket items is concerned, I would recommend farming the Jinyu as much as possible, especially if the Rotting Mire is in rotation, seeing as they are some of the highest ticket items available. The weapon that drops is the Jinyu Spear, which typically lists for around 20,000 gold at any given time across US realms. Like I said, I would highly recommend farming the Jinyu when the Rotting Mire expedition is in rotation, seeing as it's literally free money, and the items that drop are extremely high ticket, and it's definitely worth putting in the time to farm. Anyways guys, thanks for watching. I've been having a lot of fun running island expeditions again, seeing as it's been years since I've explored the half a decade old content, and I've been making so much bread you'd think I worked at a bakery. Like I've been saying in all my videos recently, my Discord server is officially open, the link of which you can find at the end of a short PowerPoint presentation down in the description below. So feel free to hop in and show off pictures of you killing Drakthir and Volpera, since I love seeing content like that. I'd also like to mention that my guild, The Guy, is currently recruiting for high-end PvE content as well as guild activities such as posting up in largely populated areas, as well as general activities and remaining nonchalant during high-pressure situations. And if you would like to join, feel free to join my Discord or shoot Bonesaw or I a message in-game so that we can deliberate on your acceptance. Anyways, thanks for watching, and as always, peace.